on behalf of the Premier and on behalf of Thibault, for more indirectly, to ask you if you would consider stepping down, even more than that, Andrew, nominating him. In the course of that deliberation, the Premier wants to talk to you. They would like to present to you options in terms of appointments, jobs, whatever, that you and her and Pat Sabera can talk about.
This seems pretty obvious to me. This seems pretty obvious. Ontario Premier Kathleen Wynne and her people, they've got some explaining to do. The plot thickens and deepens around her antics in government. And it could be that she's being rather, how shall I put it, liberal with the truth. Rachel Siegel is here to explain. They go to a person who's running for the party and say, we want someone else to run instead, so we're going to give you a job. Is that illegal?
Well, yes, that act is illegal. The question is whether or not that's what actually happened. So what the OPP, the Ontario Provincial Police, are trying to figure out right now is whether or not Kathleen Wynne, her Deputy Chief of Staff...
Who was that, who we just heard?
This was the local organizer in Sudbury. He's also the chair of the police board in Sudbury, yes, who was appointed by the Liberals.
So he is in trouble, surely?
Well, I would speculate that he is in trouble, and also the Deputy Chief of Staff. I think probably what we will see is that Kathleen Wynne will come out unscathed by this.
Who is the Deputy Chief of Staff?
It is Pat Sabera.
Now, there's a clip from her, is there not?
Yes, exactly. So we can take a listen to what she said.
Let's hear what she had to say, please.
If there were other things that you're particularly interested in that is within her realm to make you part of, then she is more than prepared to do that.
Right. So before we get to Kathleen, we have two people who are recorded as surely offering jobs in the public sector, I assume.
Well, that is exactly what they'll look at. What were they surely offering those jobs, and what they're going to...
It wasn't working in a corner store.
Well, that's true. But what they will try and argue, for example, take Pat Sabera with that clip specifically. Yeah. She may try and argue that it wasn't her. She was simply, working on behalf of the Premier. The Premier will probably say this was Pat Sabera on her own accord coming in and offering this. It'll be interesting to see who ultimately takes the brunt of the blame for this situation.
I want to establish, though, that wrong has been done. Before we even associate Kathleen Wynne, two people have made offers that are illegal to make. Is that true?
Well, I want to kind of explain the law, okay? So we'll start with the criminal code, which is what the Ontario Provincial Police are looking at. Under section 125 of the code, everyone who solicits, recommends, or negotiates in any manner with respect to an appointment to or resignation from an office is in expectation of a direct or indirect reward, advantage, or benefit, is guilty of an indictable offense and liable to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 5 years. Right. So we have to look at these questions of solicit, recommends, and negotiates. What they'll argue is that they were not soliciting or recommending. They were simply presenting the options should he decide to not run in that riding. Moving forward, it'll also be interesting whether or not they are charged under the Ontario Elections Act, because Elections Ontario is actually looking to see if they contravene that under their bribery legislation. So that's section 96 of the Ontario Elections Act that says that no person shall directly or indirectly give, procure, or promise or agree to procure an office or employment to induce a person to become a candidate, refrain from becoming a candidate, or withdraw his or her candidacy.
Rachel, I'm not a lawyer. I don't even play one on TV. Surely both of them are in deep doo-doo.
Well, what will be interesting is to see whether or not they charge them under one or the other. Yeah. I would argue that they perhaps fit more appropriately under the Elections Act. This was an incident that with regards to an election, and what I think will happen is they will be charged under the Elections Act.
I'd be amazed if this got to Kathleen Wynne.
Yes.
I think Kathleen Wynne will say, and it may be true, I don't know. She may say, I knew nothing of this. Yeah. And it could be true.
Right.
But I don't see how these two can get away with... at the very least, this is dirty, repugnant politics.
Right.
But it seems to me, the untrained eye, and I don't care what party they are, really, I'm not being partisan, but it seems to me they have broken the law.
Yes, and Jim Wilson, who's the interim leader of the Progressive Conservative Party this week, actually called for Pat Sorbera to step down while this criminal investigation is happening. We should note there are other criminal investigations currently happening with the Liberal Party at Queen's Park, including a gas plant scandal that you may remember.
It rings a bell,
yeah, that happened a little while ago, and that's an active investigation as well. So, you know, we wait to see what happens in both of these, but ultimately the question is, when will this catch? When will the Liberals actually, you know, pay the price for some of these very questionable activities?
I'm not naive. It wouldn't surprise me if other parties had acted thus in the past, but I'm afraid this time this has been recorded. This is the candidate who recorded all this?
Yes, exactly.
So it's been recorded, and the law has to be upheld, whoever breaks it. I've just been told by some very highly placed people at Quebecor that if you're willing to give up your job on Sun News, they can help you find anything else you'd like to do in life. You know,
I mean, just a menu of jobs. Yes, exactly.
It's so awful. You know, politics, I know it's never going to be pure, but it should be better than this. It really should be better. This is a great country, and we're degrading it, and this is just absolutely wrong. A great pleasure, as always. Thank you very much.